As the GTA continues to bake under a relentless heat wave, staff at 2 of Toronto's indoor pools have refused to work.
Tonight, citing dangerously hot conditions, the debate over workplace safety and the duty to deliver a public service. Good evening. On a scorching hot day, it's hard to see a closed sign at a city pool.
But the union representing city workers says indoor pools are just too hot, arguing it's parts of a larger problem with maintenance and repairs at city facilities. CTV's Scott Lightfoot joins us live with the latest. Scott.
Natalie, it is issues with heat and the humidity that has caused staff here at the indoor pool at Birchmount Community Centre to stop work. The pool has been closed since earlier today when staff said the work was no longer safe to continue. Now, according to CUPE Local 79, both here and at the indoor pool at Main Square, humidex readings have been recorded in the pool area between 40 and 45 degrees. The union says that crosses the city's own threshold, which would require increased staffing and the presence of medics on site. Now, that did not happen, says the union. They say there's an issue with the Dectron unit. Dectron is essentially just a large humidifier that regulates the humidity in the pool area. And you add to that the increase in heat that, frankly, we're all experiencing right now. Here's what the president of Local 79 told us a short time ago.
Over the past 2 weeks, a number of pools have had to shut down due to mechanical issues, staffing issues, and other concerns that have compromised the health and safety of our workers. We are glad to know that the mayor has devoted and council has approved quite a significant amount of money to state of good repair of these buildings. The state of good repair is only as useful as when it is done preemptively.
The city's own website today listed as many as 20 outdoor swimming pools, wading pools, and splash pads that were closed for maintenance or repairs. As for the situation here at Birchmount, the pool is still closed. There are signs posted inside. One says it would be reopening around 5:45. That didn't happen. The other says it could open at 8 o'clock tonight. The union says staff are still here on site, and if something can be done to change those humidity levels to lower the temperature in there, that staff are willing to go back to work tonight. I just got a response back from the City of Toronto within the past couple minutes. They say the health and safety of staff and the public is a top priority. They are working to address the issues with the dehumidification systems at Main and Birchmount, and they hope to reopen both facilities as soon as possible. Excuse me, although they say it would likely be tomorrow. Reporting live, I'm Scott Lightfoot. Natalie, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Scott. And of course, it all comes as the city continues to swelter in intensely hot weather.
A heat warning remains in effect. There is some relief in sight, but we're not there yet. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live with more on how people continue to cope. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. It is another scorcher today with the mercury topping 30 degrees once again. So, of course, people have been looking for ways to beat the heat, like hitting pools like this one here at Lansdowne in St. Clair. We're in the dog days of summer. Hot, humid weather that's hard on both man and beast.
Too very hot for him.
Not too hot for you, though?
So.
It's really intense. It's hard on the body, right?
Toronto and much of the GTA under another heat warning for the 5th time this year. A warning that's been extended until tomorrow evening, with daytime temperatures expected to get close to 31 degrees and feel closer to 38 with the humidity.
It's not fun. It's very hard and tough, so I don't suggest to work.
While some have no choice but to work outside today, others made the choice to work up a sweat today, even when their friends wouldn't come out and play.
She canceled on me. I'm on my own.
Are you disappointed?
No, it's more practice for me now.
It was obviously very hot. We drank lots of water, sunscreen. We endured.
You endured, but was it a fun game?
We lost, so it was not fun.
This year, Toronto has had 23 days with temperatures that have soared to 30 degrees or above. So far, as of today, that's 13 in July alone.
Normally for July, we would be expecting only 7 or 8 days above 30 degrees. So it's definitely been a hot one.
Weather like this caused people to line up outside public pools before they even open today. What is your favorite way to beat the heat?
Go in the water and enjoy myself. I want to jump in the pool and have fun.
How much are you enjoying the weather?
Not that good.
No, too hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you looking forward to taking a swim?
Yeah.
And while many say they'd rather stay indoors on a day like today, others are not complaining.
Oh, I'm loving the heat. I love it. I don't like the winter, so I love the heat.
I got to enjoy summer, man. There's not too many limited days not to have fun.
Enjoying some fun in the sun while they can. Now, speaking of pool closures, actually, Giovanni Caboto here closed about a half hour ago due to a medical emergency, and staff tell us that they will not be reopening tonight, so people should seek out other pools. In fact, this pool is actually one of the pools that is slated to be shut down tomorrow due to emergency maintenance repairs. Reporting live, Janice Golding. Now back to Natalie.
Okay, thank you, Janice. And as the city continues to sizzle this hour, the question for many is just how much longer it can stay this hot. Lindsay Morrison is here with all the answers and a look at the current conditions. Lindsay.
Well, Natalie, we'll begin with the current conditions. It's another hot one. I know you've heard that many times already, but check this out. It is still 32 degrees, feeling like 38 here in the city of Toronto. It's feeling like 37 in Hamilton, 34 in and around Niagara. And a closer look at some lakeside communities shows that there's not a lot of relief to be found there either. We remain under this heat warning for tonight and for part of tomorrow before it is expected to come to an end Wednesday evening. Light winds out of the south for us. We're starting to tap into some northerly winds north of here, and as a result, some communities are going to be a little bit cooler north of the GTA tonight. A few showers around southern Georgian Bay happening as well. We anticipate that it will be a dry evening here in the GTA and a warm one too. 21 for the overnight low, feeling like 26, but we are going to start to introduce the chance of a few showers starting overnight and even through tomorrow afternoon, morning, and the risk of thunderstorms too. Lots to talk about. We'll take you through the forecast coming up. For now, Natalie, back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. And take a look at this. The extreme heat is causing some highways to buckle. This is the 402 in the Sarnia area. The highway was shut down yesterday as the pavement started to lift. This isn't far from where the 402 previously buckled in extreme heat in June. At the time, the Ministry of Transportation said it would fix the road temporarily and work on a permanent fix in the fall.
Ontario Provincial Police say a limo driver is facing impaired driving charges after the passengers he was driving around forced him to pull over on the QEW. Police say they were called to the Toronto-bound lanes of the QEW in Hamilton by one of 10 passengers who forced the driver to pull over on July 11th. The driver of another vehicle had also called police to report the erratic driving. The 64-year-old limo driver was arrested at the scene and is charged with impaired and dangerous driving.
And Toronto police are advising drivers about objects being thrown from some bridges in Midtown Toronto, hitting vehicles below. It happened between 9 and 10 p.m. on Sunday and Monday nights on bridges along Mount Pleasant Road between St. Clair Avenue East and Bloor Street East. A number of vehicles were struck, but no injuries were reported.
One person was taken to hospital after a crash involving a Peel police cruiser and motorcycle in Brampton. The CTV News chopper was over the scene on West Drive at Orenda Road. It happened around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Peel paramedics say one person's in serious condition. It's unclear if any officers were injured.
To some dramatic video out of London. It shows a car crashing through the front of a local grocery store. As CTV's Sean Irvin reports, the driver narrowly missed customers, but plenty were left shaken.
You're watching security video inside a London grocery store, mere seconds before a tragedy is narrowly averted. A shopper places her cart in the aisle, turns to look at some produce, and then bang. In a split second, a car smashes through the front wall of the store, striking the woman's shopping cart, narrowly missing her. The aftermath of the crash is evident outside the store as a temporary wooden wall keeps it in operation. This staff member was inside as the car came barreling through.
So I heard like a very hard smash inside the store. I didn't know like what was happening till I stepped out like from the storage area. Then I saw like how the car drove inside the store.
I just didn't think someone could pick up enough speed to get quarter of the way through the store.
Moments after the crash, a woman in the driver's seat stepped out of the vehicle. With the help of customers and staff, she quickly got her child out of the smoking car. Amazingly, they were not physically hurt, nor were any customers. Now, if this crash had happened just a few hours earlier on Friday, the outcome could have been tragic, as the store is typically full as Friday prayers end at the nearby mosque.
It just looked like something that for sure somebody would be hurt in this. And that's kind of what I'm grateful for.
CTV News reached out to the woman nearly struck. She told us she's still in shock from the incredibly unexpected experience.
She was lucky.
We had a cart that was stuck in between the two tables, and it was pancaked. So if there was a person beside that, that definitely would have been something.
London police tell us no charges have been laid at this time. As to the cause, the store operators believe it was an unfortunate incident, and again, they are grateful no one was hurt. And while they had been considering some modifications to the store's interior, they certainly never wanted to open a wall this way.
Didn't expect renovations.
Exactly.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
York Regional Police are investigating after a rabbit was shot and killed on the front lawn of a home in Newmarket. One shot can be heard coming from a white pickup truck after it stopped outside of a house near Glenway Circle and Eagle Street. Police say someone in the back seat of the Ford F-150 fired the shot around 6 o'clock Sunday morning before the driver quickly pulled away. The homeowner found the dead rabbit several hours later and called police. Investigators are appealing for additional surveillance video of the area or anyone with dash cam footage of the vehicle involved. Well, we are now just days away from the August 1st deadline for a trade deal with the United States.
Negotiations are down to the wire, and the roller coaster ride's already taken its toll. But the U.S. ambassador to Canada says he's hopeful a deal is coming. CTV's Abigail Beeman now on the tense wait and signs of what's to come.
A government source tells CTV News there's a good level of optimism about Minister Dominic LeBlanc's next D.C. trip, and discussions will still center on trying to get a deal before the Friday deadline.
I'm hopeful that a number of additional irritants, maybe on both sides, will be addressed.
While the American ambassador told a Winnipeg audience he's hopeful about a deal in the coming days, and Pete Hoekstra makes it sound easy.
We could hammer out a deal, and we would still have time to get coffee and a donut at Tim Hortons before lunch.
My life is full of questions.
Meanwhile, prices are going up from household product giant Procter & Gamble, expecting about $1 billion hit from Donald Trump's tariffs.
In the long term, this direction will weaken the free world more than it will help it, and it will, I think, ultimately weaken the United States as well. So I think it's unfortunate. But
Canada. What about Canada? I don't know what they're feeling now at this point.
In an interview, U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, LeBlanc's main point of contact, said the European Union's deal was all about protecting their auto, semiconductor, and pharmaceutical markets, warning
President Trump is going to come out in the next 2 weeks with his pharmaceutical policy, and it is going to be higher. Basically, if you are not building your plant in America where we pay for pharmaceuticals, you are going to pay a massive tariff.
With that Friday deadline looming, Canadian officials and the American ambassador are messaging optimism just days after President Trump said he hasn't had much luck with Canada and there may not be a deal at all. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
10 candidates running in an Alberta riding, including Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, will be on the debate stage tonight. Poilievre is looking to win the Battle River Crowfoot by-election after losing his long-held Ottawa seat of Carleton in April's federal election. Conservative Damien Kurek, who had won the seat in the general election, stepped down so Poilievre could run. Around 210 candidates have been registered to run in the riding, many sponsored by the Longest Ballot Committee protest group. Elections Canada will combat this with a special ballot requiring voters to write in the name of the person they are voting for instead of marking their choice on a circle.
TMZ has obtained and is sharing video of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau with American pop star Katy Perry having dinner inside a high-end restaurant Monday night. Trudeau and Perry were spotted at Le Violon in Montreal's Plateau neighborhood. The Michelin-recommended restaurant was rated as Canada's 11th best restaurant this year.
Canadian homeowners with mortgages coming up for renewal will be closely watching tomorrow's interest rate announcement from the Bank of Canada. The central bank is expected to hold its key rate study at 2.75% for a third consecutive decision. Stubborn inflation numbers and surprising strength in the labor market are dampening expectations of even a modest rate cut. There are also concerns about the impact the tariff dispute with the United States is having on the Canadian economy. And south of the border, the U.S. Federal Reserve is also expected to hold its key rate steady when it releases its decision tomorrow. This in spite of increasing pressure from President Donald Trump for a rate cut. But the U.S. Central Bank is expected to maintain its cautious approach for a fifth consecutive meeting over concerns the trade war could reverse progress on the 2% inflation target.
In New York City, investigators are probing a deadly mass shooting last night.
It left 4 people dead, and tonight the NYPD is sending a team to Las Vegas to search for a motive in the deadly act of gun violence.
Today, bullet holes riddle the Manhattan office tower where the shooting took place just before 6:30. 4 people, including a New York City police officer, were killed when a man armed with a rifle opened fire inside the building that houses the headquarters of the National Football League and other prominent businesses.
The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire.
The gunman then made his way to the elevator, shooting 2 more people. He then shot and killed 1 more person on the 33rd floor before taking his own life. He's been identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamura of Las Vegas. Authorities say he had a documented history of mental illness and drove 4,000 kilometers from Las Vegas to New York City in the days leading up to the shooting. And that's why police are going to Vegas. Now, New York City Mayor Eric Adams says today the shooter had a note blaming the NFL for a brain injury he believed he suffered. The shooting came at the end of the workday when the area was filled with people.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the UK is ready to formally recognize Palestinian statehood at the UN General Assembly meeting in September, unless Israel agrees to end the war in Gaza.
I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire, and commit to a long-term sustainable peace, reviving the prospect of a 2-state solution.
Starmer's announcement comes after he spoke with officials from the U.S., Egypt and Qatar about the push to get a sustainable long-term ceasefire deal. Starmer says the UK's plan was always to recognize a Palestinian state at the moment of most impact, but with a ceasefire deal under threat, he says now is the time to act. Starmer also spoke about getting more aid into Gaza by land and air.
At least 34 people have been killed by flooding triggered by days of heavy rain in China. Floodwaters washed away vehicles in Beijing suburbs on Monday. Some areas have received more than 540 millimeters of rain. The city's issued its highest level flood alert. Now, in some areas, locals have been teaming up with firefighters to bring trapped residents to safety.
More than 2,000 firefighters are battling 3 wildfires throughout Portugal. The country has already been on red alert for a few weeks due to hot weather and droughts. Some areas of northern Portugal, where the largest fires are raging, have already been evacuated. Dozens of planes have also been waterbombing the area to help put out the 3 big wildfires.
Still ahead, let's go to the X job fair. A record number of job seekers apply to work at the CNE this summer. The carousel of applications just ahead.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, if you use social media, you'll see ads for items or services that look like a great deal. Everything from electric bikes to balloon rides. But many people who make purchases often don't get anything in return. We investigate. That story is just ahead.
Well, it may feel like it's been a pretty dry month. Technically, we've had more rain than our monthly average this July, but a lot of it came at once. We could use a good steady soaker, and that could happen before this month is finished. Coming up, we'll detail the timing of this next disturbance's arrival, plus just how dry it's looking for the long weekend. Those details are coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Most of the major social media platforms, from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok, now have ads selling products and services.
The ads often have extremely low prices offering great deals, but police are warning some of them are scams you need to watch out for. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Natalie. It's a story we've done before. People getting scammed trying to buy lawnmowers or luxury clothing at deep discounts. More victims say they were scammed trying to buy electric bikes online. And police have issued a warning about a hot air balloon scam.
Well, it seemed greatly discounted.
Keith Edwards of Bowmanville says he was on Facebook when he noticed an ad for an electric bike. It had a list price of $900 US, but was heavily discounted to just $92.
Who wouldn't want a bargain for an e-bike that looked solid? I'm a regular cyclist, and I just thought this would be a great help.
Edwards bought the bike in January, and after 6 months of trying to contact the company and getting nowhere, he's resigned to the fact he'll probably never get it and was scammed.
This type of discounted, severely discounted products that are totally bogus.
CTV News has done stories on social media ads involving the sale of mobility scooters, lawn mowers, and garden sheds that are all sold at extremely low prices but never show up. Sometimes luxury clothing will arrive, but it's actually a cheap knockoff. York Regional Police recently posted a warning about a social media scam involving hot air balloon rides. You could pay $45 in advance to ride in a hot air balloon, but when victims showed up at a local park, no one was there.
There are no balloons set up. There's no staff from this Candle Experience company on site to assist them with their purchase.
Police issued the warning to remind people just because something is for sale on a social media website, it doesn't mean it's legit.
You have to be mindful of ads that do pop up.
To avoid sponsored ad scams, confirm you're on a legitimate website, use caution buying through social media shops, contact a company in advance of a purchase, be suspicious of massive discounts and deals that seem too good to be true. CTV News contacted Meta, the parent company of Facebook, about the bike ad Edwards used, but we did not get a response. He plans to be more careful in the future.
I just urge other consumers to be duly warned.
And often fake ads say you need to act fast or it's a limited time offer. They may also look like they belong to well-known popular retailers when they don't. The best advice is to deal with reputable stores online that you find yourself. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, the heat warnings continue. Maybe some of us are getting used to it. You know, one of the questions that they were asking earlier is, how do you like to stay cool? The splash pads, to me, always work with the kids, don't they?
Absolutely. And also, we can stay cool in January. We'll be looking back on this when the winter weather arrives. We'll say, you know, maybe it wasn't so bad.
I know. I always remind myself that this, right now, end of July, is the time of year that I think about all year long. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it the best I can. Of course, I have access to an air-conditioned facility, as we do here at work. Hopefully, you do as well if that's not at home. Hopefully, you, too, have been finding ways to beat the heat and stay cool. We have to get through one more day, and then things are going to feel a little more comfortable around here starting as early as Wednesday night, but even more so into Thursday. Here's what it looked like earlier today in the Ajax area. The waterfront is a lovely spot in this part of southern Ontario. Look at that. Nice day out on the water as well. We've had a light breeze off Lake Ontario. Mostly blue skies, although you might have noticed it was a little more hazy today, and we're keeping an eye on that. The air quality is something that we'll be watching over the next couple of days here. Expect some clearing by the end of the week, but then we'll also pay close attention to the weekend with a little bit of smoke or poor air quality moving back in. We're at a 4 right now on the Air Quality Health Index, which is moderate risk, expecting to climb to a 5 tonight and then back to a 4 tomorrow. Quite a few 3s on this map for tomorrow, though, so that too is some good news. Right now it is, look at that, we've just jumped to 33 degrees in Toronto. We're reaching our daytime high late in the day, around the dinner hour. It still feels like 40 in the Windsor area. There's your evening at a glance. Mainly sunny for us tonight. A little bit of active weather for areas further to the north. Chance of showers in some communities. We did see a little more cloud in areas today. And then tomorrow, another warm one. 31 degrees is going to feel like 38 at the height of the day. But notice how areas like Owen Sound, Orillia, Bancroft, Parry Sound in the 20s tomorrow. So that's a sign of what's to come. We'll have northerly winds tomorrow as opposed to the southerly ones we've been dealing with. And there's also the chance of an afternoon shower or even thunder shower. I do think most areas are going to remain dry day side tomorrow. There's a disturbance that we're going to keep an eye on as we make our way overnight and into Thursday that could bring us some much needed rain. We've had a few showers around Georgian Bay today, some thunderstorms around Sudbury and North Bay, for example. This is what we're watching for a little later on this week. Again, heading overnight into Thursday, a disturbance that is still stateside. Here's how that looks to play out. First, we're going to pause it here in the afternoon for your Wednesday. Mix of sun and cloud. Again, chance of a few showers initiating. The risk of a thunderstorm is there. It would be very scattered and isolated in nature. Now we'll see how this plays out. This disturbance at this point looks to be impacting us early Thursday morning. It's not going to last all that long. It will clear out as the day goes on. We will be back into some sunshine by Thursday evening. And then Friday, we kick off quite a run of sun that continues right through the long weekend. So that's great news for your plans. We go from 31 degrees tomorrow to about 25 Thursday, Friday. So suddenly we are below seasonal after days of high heat and humidity. Look at the weekend. Very pleasant temperatures, loads of sunshine. By Sunday and Monday, we're going to start to see some heat build back in. But otherwise, yeah, it's looking pretty dry. So I think many people are crossing their fingers for their plants and their lawns that we do get a bit of rain overnight and into Thursday. That's the forecast for now. Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, the moose that marked the millennium. 25 years after hundreds of these art installations left their tracks on city streets, we ask an artist about the making of the moose.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
A warning tonight about a shortage of common painkillers impacting patients across the country.
Some pharmacists are sounding the alarm, saying they are now having to limit prescriptions, meaning some people aren't getting the medication they need. CTV Sean Varden reports.
So this is your medication. Do you have any questions? Ottawa pharmacist Mohammed Al-Hawane is seeing the direct impact of drug shortages in Canada.
We do have a cancer patient who depend on a monthly supply of one of their medications, the oxycodone and Tylenol. It's called Percocet, or the generic of it. Unfortunately, we had to delay the dispensing until the doctor replies and give us an alternative.
Right now, common pain medications like Tylenol 3 and Percocet and related drugs are in short supply.
These meds are designed to help with breakthrough pain. Usually they have long-acting pain medications for their chronic problems, but they take these meds for something called breakthrough pain, so it has to be there.
Health Canada says the current shortage is temporary due to manufacturing disruptions and increased demand, and is working with manufacturers, distributors, provinces, and territories to monitor the situation and explore options to increase access. The Neighbourhood Pharmacy Association of Canada says these shortages happen regularly with all kinds of medications. Finding alternatives can take time and can sometimes only be done by a doctor. They say expanded powers for pharmacists could help.
So if pharmacists had expanded scope to do more and be recognized as practitioners in the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, they could support patients more with prescribing, with dosage changes.
It's something some patients favor.
Pharmacists are totally capable of replacing, substituting medication. That's what they do.
Health Canada says the current shortage should be resolved sometime in August. Until then, patients will have to cope, hoping their medication won't be impacted by the next shortage. Sean Varden, CTV News.
A new report says Canada is falling behind when it comes to supporting people with dementia. The Brainwell Institute says it takes an average of 2 years for patients to get a diagnosis, and services are fragmented. It also says dementia contributes to an estimated $25 billion in lost productivity due to the demands placed on caregivers.
Once you get that diagnosis, if you even get it, there's really nowhere else to go. There's no supports for people to understand how they can manage it better. And when you think about dementia overall, it's a collection of over 100 different neurological diseases. People can live up to 8 years with this disease. So they need access to treatments, diagnostics, and better rehabilitative care. In Canada, unfortunately, while it has invested in a national dementia strategy, when it comes to the care component and the coordination through the health system, we're really falling behind.
The Institute is calling for the creation of a Canadian dementia coordinating body to guide policy, a national implementation plan with clear targets and a commitment to long-term funding.
The Canadian National Exhibition is just over 2 weeks away, and the race is on to hire thousands of staff for the end of summer event. And there's been a record number of applications in advance of a job fair that's going to be happening tomorrow. Joining us now is CNE CEO Mark Holland. Mark, thanks for joining us. What do you make of the record number of applications?
Yeah, 54,000, Nathan. I mean, that's a huge number. And I think it speaks to the fact that the CNE is such an exciting, dynamic place to work. I also think that there's right now a real need for young people to have that first job experience. The CNE, we have already hired about 1,000. We've got about 5,000 folks yet to fill with our partners. And these are jobs that are really unique. They give young people really important skills that are going to set them up in life. So we're excited to have that job fair tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure many young people are excited as well. What can they expect at the job fair tomorrow?
Well, so tomorrow it's open to anybody. We've asked folks if they'd like to register, they can, or they can just show up at the Enercan Centre in Toronto. And they're going to be able to talk to many of our different partners working in all aspects of the fair. So there's a chance to be involved in, you're seeing the midway games, in the operations of the various elements of the fair, in the food. So there's lots of exciting job opportunities for folks.
And what types of jobs will be available?
Well, as I say, so it'll be working the concessions, working the games at the midway. It'll be, helping with traffic, move folks around, helping with all of the various vendors that are there, some of the exhibits that we have. So there's 24 different partners that'll be with us there tomorrow. We're going to be there, obviously, as well, so folks can explore all that is possible.
Any advice to maybe someone who's looking for their very first job?
Well, I think the first thing is to demonstrate that you're committed. This is the summer. As a young person, it's tough to give up these last 3 weeks of summer. I know all of us are kind of looking at the end of summer, wanting to squeeze out every minute, but really demonstrating that commitment and the initiative to really show what you've got and demonstrate that you have the enthusiasm, energy to really participate in something that's super fun. The CNE is a place that's really magical. It's a place of joy. So having that spirit when you apply for the job, showing that you're going to help make the fair fun and ensure that everybody has a good time.
Yeah, good advice. CNE CEO Mark Holland, thanks for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
Meantime, Ontario Labour Minister David Piccini announced today that the province is opening up applications for a new round of funding to train workers.
We're building a world-class workforce that will withstand any economic challenge that comes our way. And the foundation of this is the relationship we have with training delivery leaders like the ones in this room and the workers they support. Today, we have some exciting projects to highlight from Round 5 of our Skills Development Fund. We're announcing over $20 million through this round to train 4,825 workers and job seekers through 7 priorities for careers in the skilled trades: hospitality, artificial intelligence, and healthcare.
That is the 6th iteration of the Skills Development Fund from the Ford government. Piccini says the money can be used for innovative projects in healthcare, manufacturing, construction, and the automotive sector.
Well, how's this for a bit of a blast from the past? It was 25 years ago, Torontonians welcomed a herd of hundreds of life-size moose statues to the city. The city launched its Moose in the City public art project back in 2000. The initiative featured 326 colorful moose statues decorated by artists and placed all over the city, including at the CN Tower and Nathan Phillips Square. Now, some of the artists involved are reflecting on the project, and they say the installations were emblematic of the city's culture and show how we can step up to support the art scene.
It's a fantastic opportunity for artists and for the community. It brought the City of Toronto together. Everybody was super happy. You couldn't pass a moose without smiling. I did Florence Moosingale, which is actually still out there now. She's an iconic landmark in Toronto. She's down near Bayview and Moore Avenue. And I did a park moose and driving moose Daisy.
According to council minutes from April of 2000, the project came at no cost to the city, and the statues were sponsored by various companies.
Still ahead tonight, it has been a battle for the Blue Jays in Baltimore. The team takes a nosedive after flying high for weeks, hoping to avoid a third strike in the rematch tonight.
Over the past 2 weeks, a number of pools have had to shut down due to mechanical issues, staffing issues, and other concerns that have compromised the health and safety of our workers.
Updating our top stories now, staff at 2 indoor pools refused to work today, citing unsafe conditions due to the heat and humidity. The union says it is the second work refusal in a week by City of Toronto aquatic staff. In a statement, the city says they are working to address issues with the dehumidification systems at Main Square Indoor Pool and Birchmount Indoor Pool.
And Toronto police are warning drivers about objects being thrown from some bridges in Midtown Toronto, hitting the vehicles below. It happened between 9 and 10 p.m. Sunday and Monday nights on bridges along Mount Pleasant between St. Clair and Bloor Street East. A number of vehicles were struck, but no injuries were reported.
I heard like a very hard smash inside the store. I didn't know what was happening.
Stunning video from a London, Ontario grocery store. A vehicle crashed through the front of the building, narrowly missing customers inside. The driver and a child in the car were not hurt. London police say no charges have been laid. Staff at the store say they believe it was an unfortunate accident.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video breaking news, let us know.
Fewer trips to the U.S. has led to a loss for Air Canada. The company reported its latest earnings. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more on that and other business headlines.
Air Canada reported disappointing earnings in its second quarter. The airline's net income amounted to $186 million. That's less than half of its net income from the same period last year. The airline says it's grappling with a challenging environment created in part by geopolitical tension. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is down today to $72.59. West Texas Intermediate is up $2.50 to $69.21. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up as well, over $1 to $54.28. And it is another record close for the TSX. It shot up 134 points today to 27,539. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
The federal government is doing away with work cell phones for some employees in an effort to dial back spending on mobile devices. As CTV's Caitlin Wilson reports, while some say it's a smart move, others say they can't do their job without a phone in hand.
There's an app I can put on my phone that effectively emulates my desk phone here.
At this high-tech recruitment firm, being reachable isn't a bonus, it's the business.
We're constantly on the phone calling all the time, you know. If we're not calling candidates, we're calling customers.
For David Gorman and his team, the cell phone isn't just a tool. It's how relationships are built, leads are landed, and deals get done.
If you leave a voicemail for somebody and they decide to call you back, you want to be there to catch the phone, take the call, you know, because if you miss the call, you might not get another chance at it.
But in the public service, the federal government is dialing back on both cell phones and landlines and replacing them with soft phones, which allow employees to make calls from desktops or laptops in order to cut costs.
When we have a government now that has a very large deficit and is trying to rein that in, when they're ordering all of their departments to find cost savings, taking the phones and ditching them is an easy way to do it, especially when there's alternatives out there that we've learned.
Concordia economics professor Moshe Lander says even his own university, like many businesses, is following suit.
What prof is in the office anymore 9 to 5 and is taking student phone calls or so they said, forget it. Like, use Teams if you want to interact with each other.
During the last fiscal year, Shared Services Canada spent nearly $90 million on mobile phones, which they say will still be provided when necessary, and some public servants don't seem to mind.
The phone is typically more for traveling. Most of us don't really do a lot of traveling, so I personally don't really see a need for a work phone, even though they're issued automatically.
And while critics argue many public servants will end up using their personal phones, raising privacy concerns, for those outside the public sector, the phone isn't always optional.
I know myself, I need my cell phone anyways, because this is how I sent my papers. Anyways, I'm a long-distance truck driver, and that's how I sent my papers.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
Bianca Andreescu made an early exit from the National Bank Open. The 25-year-old went down and received medical treatment during her first-round match yesterday, but was able to grind out a straight sets victory. The withdrawal came just hours before the start of her second match. After winning the U.S. Open and National Bank Open in 2019, Andreescu has struggled with injury and consistency, failing to qualify for this year's French Open and Wimbledon.
It's out. Jenny Bouchard, where have you been?
Meanwhile, Eugenie Bouchard is not quite done with professional tennis. The Montreal native won her first-round match last night in 3 sets. Earlier this month, she announced she would be retiring from the WTA Tour following the event. She's set to play her second-round match tomorrow night.
Denis Shapovalov plays his first-round match tonight at the National Bank Open in Toronto. The 26-year-old will face American Leonard Tien. Richmond Hill's Nicholas Arsenault will play his second-round match against defending NBO champ Alexei Popyrin.
The Blue Jays were looking to get back into the win column this afternoon in their first game of a doubleheader with the Baltimore Orioles.
High in the air to deep left center field. And gone.
The Orioles jumped all over the Jays, going on to win the game 16-4. The teams are back at it this evening. They are squaring off in Game 2 of their doubleheader. It began just after 6:30.
George Springer was not in the lineup today after last night's scare. The Blue Jays outfielder was hit in the head by a fastball and forced to leave the game. Manager John Schneider said he's doing okay, and according to reports, he is feeling better, but no word on when Springer will return to the lineup. And Bo Bichette made history last night with the team. The Blue Jays shortstop had a hit in 9 consecutive at-bats, setting a new franchise record. He passed the likes of Rance Mulliniks, Paul Molitor, Tony Fernandez, and Adam Lind, who are all tied at 8 in a row. The hitting streak was snapped today in Baltimore. Going into today's doubleheader, Bichette led the majors with 130 hits. Still to come tonight, game, set, matching a tennis champ with the next generation of pros. The world's best doubles player serves up lessons to Brampton kids in a coaching clinic they won't soon forget.
Tonight, investigating the gunman's motive in the New York mass shooting.
He was suffering from CTE, and he was an ex-NFL player.
What his handwritten note said and what we're learning about the victims. Later on CTV National News.
And a reminder, the CTV News at 6 podcast is available as a download every weeknight. And a special hello to those of you listening to the newscast live on News Talk 1010. Finally tonight, pro tips that actually come from a pro.
The world's best doubles player on the tennis court today in Brampton, helping young people ace it. CTV's Jessica Smith was there.
We put the ice on the ball.
Hitting the hard court with a pro.
Try to get a good technique.
Of course, he gave me a lot of tips, which were really helpful. The moment I, got them into my brain, I was like, okay, perfect. I know how to hit the shot now.
World #1 doubles player and 2024 Grand Slam French Open doubles champion Marcelo Aravello helped host a youth development clinic for aspiring young athletes at Rosalie Park in Brampton today.
If I can teach them a little bit of all my experience through these whole years and just give back a little bit to them, like many people did to me when I need that help, I'm happy to do it.
The clinic was organized in collaboration with the City of Brampton and Premier Racket Club, with a goal to help foster community engagement and create access to the sport.
Well, it's really neat to learn from someone who's actually won a Grand Slam. And we have a real focus on youth tennis right now.
For young players, whether it was their first lesson.
Well, I really know how to serve properly because I used to not serve well. But I really like this experience, and I never had to play tennis with a pro before, so it was really fun.
Or they're looking to go pro.
I hope to be really good like Marcelo one day.
Or hoping to make history.
I just love playing it. I want to make history because in tennis history there was no such thing as a Sikh player because I'm Sikh, right? I want to be the first Sikh player to win a Grand Slam.
It was a unique opportunity to get reps in with a pro.
What does it take to be a professional tennis player?
Hard work.
Up next for Aravello is waiting to see what days he's playing later this week at the National Bank Open.
If I can give back to all these kids and many kids around the world that I have the opportunity to share time with, that's something priceless.
The courts here at Rosalie Park in Brampton are free for the public to access throughout the summer, all the way through to the end of August. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Nice swing. I'm guessing if you're out there, lots of water, maybe wear a hat. It's hot out there.
Absolutely. It's all about keeping hydrated when the humidity is just this high.
Definitely, and don't forget the sunscreen and the hat, as mentioned too. So all good ideas if you're going to be out, maybe on the tennis court tomorrow. Another hot one in store. This heat warning, it's in place for another night and at least for part of the day tomorrow. Then we are anticipating that it's going to come to an end, along with this most recent heat event. Overnight tonight, though, you'll notice some communities north of here are in the teens for an overnight low. We are still in the 20s. 21 is what we're forecasting. 31 for the high tomorrow is going to feel more like 38. We're at a 9 on the UV index like much of this week. And then here's the 7-day forecast. Crossing our fingers for some much needed rain overnight and into Thursday. And then look at that sunny stretch through the long weekend. Nathan and Natalie.
Thank you, Lindsay. Be sure to join Marcy McMillan tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Andrea Case with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching. Have a good night.